This one is so good. Speak before you're asked. Whew. Hello, my love. Welcome back to Arouse for another episode. And if you're new around here, welcome. My name is Sam. I'm your host and personal life coach. Today's episode is 22 confident behaviors. So thank you, Mike Clement. And we're going to dive right in. Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. This is a lot of confident behaviors, but I have to share this because when I came across this, I was like, this is too good not to share. Number one is avoid negative people. Fuck, do I love this one. Prime example is my grandmother, God rest her soul. But there are a lot of times where I remember her just complaining and being just a ratchety old woman, just never really having anything good to say. Complaining about this, complaining about that. And it sucked the shit out of my soul. It was so soul sucking. So every time I was around my grandmother, I literally just wanted to leave as soon as possible because she was just so fucking negative. It made me feel absolutely terrible. And I just wanted to leave as soon as possible. Number two, use positive language. So this kind of goes in with that negative self-talk that's going to come up with your inner critic, that comparison beast, your self-doubt. But using positive language and positive affirmations are definitely going to help battle this, as well as just telling your inner critic to shut the fuck up, because I've done that. And it definitely works. You're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger the more that you battle your inner critic. Number three, offer before you're asked. How many times have I offered potentially my services to someone and they had never asked up until that point? Rather than in other situations when people have asked me, then they never follow through. So I have found that offering up my services to someone has been much more productive, and for me being able to serve someone by offering my services or offering to help is way better than having someone ask you for it. Number four is use direct eye contact. This one actually used to make me super uncomfortable because I wasn't used to looking at people in the eye, and eventually, the more that you work on it, the better that you become at it. It comes more natural and it becomes a lot less awkward the more that you do it. And believe me, it's going to feel fucking awkward at first because you're going to be like, oh my God, I feel like I'm just like staring into their soul. But eventually you're just going to be able to gaze at them and look in their eyes and use eye contact, not in a loving way, but making sure that you use direct eye contact is actually a very good sign that you have a lot of self-confidence. Number five is remember people's names. Now, this is really hard for me, partially because of my ADHD. I'm really great with faces, but one thing that I have done to kind of help this and battle it is say the person's name as much as possible in that first initial conversation with them. After you shake hands with them and they introduce themselves, hi, I'm blank, and you're like, hi, I'm Sam, then I'll be like, okay, blank, Bruce, whatever your name is, and like use their name at least 3 times in a sentence or in that first initial conversation, using it as many times as I can without being weird and then being like, you're saying my name a lot, but at least using it a handful of times in that first initial conversation is going to be able to help you remember it. Number 6 is make an authentic first impression. Now, not saying you have to be 100% your authentic self the very first time, because it's kind of hard to do that with a first impression, depending how much time that you get with someone, whether it's like a first date or an initial meeting or an interview. You can really only show so much in such a short period of time, but it is important for you to show up authentically and true to yourself. Number 7 is say no. This one is vital because I have said yes over and over when I should have said no, when I was spreading myself too thin. And saying no is for you to have healthy boundaries, not only with yourself, but with other people, and limiting yourself so you don't overwhelm yourself and potentially burn yourself out. Number 8 is know your personal goals. So I just heard a statistic that when you write your goals down, you are then 42% more likely to do it and achieve that than never writing it down. So if that doesn't motivate you to write down your goals because you're 42% more likely to achieve it by just writing it down once, is huge. I would love a 42% increase by just writing down some of my personal goals. I continue to do this all the time, and I've done it with vision boards or writing down a list of things that I want to accomplish in my life. There's so many different ways to do it, but by writing it down, you give yourself a 42% chance boost to achieve it. Number 9 is see problems as challenges. The moment that I flipped my mindset like this, and I, instead of seeing problems as this really scary thing and just seeing it as like a challenge, I almost would get energized and be like, okay, like how many different ways can we figure out a solution to this? And it almost would get me excited, obviously for certain things, not everything, to do it. Even when I'm working at my office job, when there's certain things that come up, I'm like, okay, there's this potential thing we could do. There's this thing, there's this thing, there's this thing. And constantly trying to find up with different solutions or potential solutions or little baby steps to help us get there, I find is way better than being like, oh my God, this is such a big problem, because it almost seems overwhelming and you don't need that. Number 10 is take up a hobby and stick to it. So this is one thing that I've talked about quite a bit. And if you've been along with me on my journey for quite a while, you will know that I love to crochet and knit. I have been doing this ever since I was 8. So in about a year and a half, when I turn 28, I'll be crocheting and knitting for 20 years, which is absolutely insane to think about. But I've stuck to it for so long, and I continue to come back at it because I love doing it. It's so peaceful, and it feels really good to just get a break from daily things, from work, personal shit, where I can just sit down and crochet, maybe watch some Netflix and be like, yes, this is my happy place. So find yourself a hobby and stick to it. Number 11 is your balance your life and work priorities. This is not really something that you're taught growing up, even though we absolutely should be teaching this in the school system, but make sure that you're not working too much or you're not working too little. Like, you need to have a good balance between work and life. Whether you have kids or not, you still need to make time for yourself and things that are important to you so you don't overwork yourself. Number 2 is give out compliments. I love doing this, even if it's something as simple as, hey, I love the way that you did your hair today. Hey, you did a really great job on this. I love that. Hey, your scrunchie's really cute. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I actually was waiting in line at a Tim Hortons last week, and this girl had both pink and blue hair. And I said to her, oh my God, I love your hair. That's so vibrant. And it sparked up a conversation between us. She's like, oh, this is the dye that I was using. And I was like, oh, I've actually heard of that. And like, you didn't have any issues. And we had a really cute little conversation where if I had never complimented her, I would have never had that connection with her and had a cute little conversation. Number 3 is volunteer. Being in COVID right now kind of makes this a little difficult, but volunteering and doing charity work can be something as simple as taking a little grocery bag with you when you go to the park and walk your dog. Pick up trash and put it in your little bag, and when you're done, throw it in one of the community garbage bins. That could be volunteer work. That could be charity work. It doesn't have to be with an organization. You could literally just pick up litter. I've done that, and it was called flogging, I think. I don't know why there was the F and the, I can't remember what the F and the L stood for, but it was like jogging and something else, like picking up trash while you're jogging. And I was like, well, I'm gonna take Twister for a walk. Let's pick up trash while I'm in this farmer's field walking my dog in the middle of the winter. Number 14 is believe in yourself. Because whether other people do or not, what matters is that you believe in yourself. If you can believe in Santa Claus for 8 to 10 years, you can literally believe in yourself for 5 minutes. Just tell yourself that you believe in yourself. Number 15 is arrive early or on time. This is something I love to do. I'm one of those people that is like, oh, I'm on time if I'm early. That is on time for me. I always like to be early. I hate being late, or if I am late, I always text or call the person and be like, hey, I'm running a few minutes late before I'm actually supposed to meet them. Be like, hey, sorry, I'm going to be a few minutes late, like traffic or whatever it was, or, I just had an issue with Twister at home. I'm going to get there as fast as I can. Just letting them know, but making sure that I arrive on time or early as much as possible. Number 16, stand tall with your shoulders back. This is actually something that some experts have said that your body language shows whether you have confidence or not. When you shrug and you're slumped and you're kind of bringing your shoulders forward, you look like you have low self-esteem and low self-confidence. But when you have your shoulders back and you stand nice and tall, almost like with your chin just a little bit lifted, you look so fucking confident. So even if you don't feel confident, you can look confident just by the way that you're standing and presenting yourself with your body language. 17, speak before you're asked. Every Ever since I found my voice and embraced it, I always speak in conversations with men. Doesn't matter what it's about. I always like to put my 2 cents in there as long as it's relevant. If it's not relevant, obviously I don't put my 2 cents in. But I don't wait for them to ask me my opinion. I just get in there and I'm like, this is what I think. And actually, there's been a lot of men that have come back to me and said, hey, like that's a really good point, or oh, thanks for adding that. Other men can be intimidated by me sometimes, and honestly, that's their problem. Men that are intimidated by strong, independent, and confident women have an issue either with their mother or women in their life because they have some sort of issue with women, or they're just insecure with themselves. That's ultimately the biggest thing. Number 18 is offer solutions instead of problems. So I was talking about this earlier, when you instead look at problems and you see them as challenges instead. So this is what I was talking about, where I was trying to offer so many solutions to these problems that were coming up at my office job. And sometimes they're shocked. They're like, oh yeah, I guess I never thought about that as a potential solution, or oh yeah, like we could try that, or we could do this. And yeah, it just shows that you're confident. You fucking know what you're doing, or at least you're smart. Number 19, this one can be sometimes hard, is never whine. This kind of goes into play with complaining. And it can be easy to complain because you're like, oh, someone cut me off on Deerfoot today. If you don't know what that is our major highway in Calgary that gets you pretty much all around the city, besides our ring road. A little different. Or Stony Trail if you know that name. But Deerfoot is kind of like the quote unquote like scary highway. I remember driving it when I was 16 and I almost got hit by a big semi, but I was also 16 and barely knew how to drive, and driving on the biggest, baddest highway at 6:30 in the morning or something during rush hour, probably not the best decision. But sometimes it can be really easy to complain and whine about shit that's going wrong in your life, and instead replace this with gratitude or look at things that went right today. Number 20 is get out more. So this can be going for a walk, going out with friends, just going over to someone's house, just leaving your house. And we are kind of still in COVID. Some people like to stay at home. Some people are introverts, and, you know, respect. I get it. I'm an extroverted introvert. I do like to be at home. I'm a homebody sometimes, but I love to go out with friends. I love to go over to friends' houses and spend time with them, and especially go over to my partner's house and go spend time with him and his family there. Number 21 is sit proudly at any meeting. So this goes to number 16. We're talking about stand tall with your shoulders back. Similar, where you want to sit tall with your shoulders back, chin a little bit elevated, like a little bit higher. So you're kind of almost like looking up, and you know, that's going to show confidence in your body language with any meeting that you're at. Number 22 is back and support yourself. This one is similar to number 14, but you always want to be your number one supporter. Yes, it's great to have a support system where other people support you, but you need to support yourself as well. How would you want to support a friend if they were going through the same thing? Show up for yourself in that exact same way. So those were 22 confident behaviors from Mike Clement. That was a lot, but those are all really, really great confident behaviors. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let me know which one was your favorite, or if you have a couple, let me know in the comments on YouTube. Leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, or share this on social media and tag me. I would love to hear some feedback from you. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next episode.